I guess kicking off with the obvious question, how does it feel to be here in London meeting fans at the MCM Comic Con? Are you enjoying it so far? And
Yeah, I mean, it's still early in the day, but yeah, it's always fun. You know, I've been here for a week in London, so it's been a pretty spectacular week. And yeah, it's madness out there, so it's always fun.
And what do you get out of the experience of meeting fans at things like this? What brings you along?
I mean, it's sort of a mutual love of, you know, we all come together and we love the same show or same shows, so it's always nice to kind of revisit all that, and especially if we're lucky enough to have a reunion, you know, to be here with Summer is fantastic because we don't really see each other that much. You know, we're busy with children and lives in different cities, and so it's just, you know, it's a reunion. So
I was wondering how many different ways do you have of answering the inevitable question?
Is it coming back?
Do you just have one stock answer or three and you alternate during the course of the weekend?
You know, yes and no. Or now I've just started lying.
That's way.
I'll say, you haven't heard? Like, no, it's a great question. I mean, we sort of wonder too. The cast kind of wonders. I've asked Joss that. I've been like, I get asked all the time, like, why is it? He just says it's, so much more complicated than we could ever imagine.
Is it always the 20th Century Fox holding the rights? It's not like
I don't.
Netflix could.
I don't know. It's a good question. Yeah.
I mean, just fundamentally, why do you think it is a show that, even though it ran for a relatively short period of time, still has such a special place in so many people's hearts? What is the magic of Firefly?
Well, I mean, I think there's so many magical things about the story. I think the story was so universal and timeless in many ways. I think there's like a new generation now, or generations, that are watching the show. But I also do think, back to the whole cancellation thing, I think there's something about it being snatched away so soon that kind of, started this movement, right? And so, I don't know. Like, I think that has a huge part to do. Like, it was too soon, and people weren't okay with that. And I think that's part of the allure.
Do you think after the movie, because the movie quite nicely wraps most things up,
Yeah.
does everyone want to go back and continue, or?
That's a good question. I mean, I think when we're asked, would we go back? Yeah, of course. But I think we also wonder if it just sort of like, just leave it as it was and don't touch it because it was just so special. So, there's both sides of that coin.
I mean, was it difficult for you, having kind of put that character away, to then have to kind of bring it all back again to go back and do the film?
No, not at all. And I think I was a little worried about that. But yeah, no, not at all. I remember the read-through, and we all sort of sat there and just, all these people who I had grown to love, who had become my family, reading the words of these characters who I had missed. I think just stepping on set was just like riding a bike. It was just, I mean, it was, we had Joss, he was directing, so it really was, and you're supported by your cast and your crew, so it was so familiar in so many ways that it was very easy to step back into that world.
What is what is Joss Whedon like as a director? Is he like an actor's director, or is he like a visual director? Because sometimes you get...
He's kind of everything. I had never met somebody who was so clear with what he wanted, at the same time being so accessible. And I was always in awe. I mean, we all know he's a genius, but he's one of the most delightful men to sort of hang around with and pal around set. So you never sort of, if he was stressed, you never knew it. He just seemed to very effortlessly kind of throw it all together. But yeah, he knew exactly how to speak to actors, and he knew how to speak to writers. He knew, I mean, he had his hand on everything, like hair. He would have long conversations with, hair and makeup about one character's hair. So he would just really, every single detail, he has just such extreme clarity on what it is.
Because I've worked with directors before, and sometimes they just focus on just the character,
Yeah.
they don't think of anything else. And
No, he's sort of wears all the hats and is very good at it. And he's also very good at delegating. Something just stripping.
I think it's
Welcome to the Excel Center.
yeah. We spared no expense. I think one of the
Just making sure it doesn't drip on any of this stuff.
we'll be okay.
All right.
I think one of the other things that Joss is so celebrated for is his gift for ensemble comedy, ensemble drama.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is that each character in that brings their own part of something unique. In Firefly, what do you think it was specifically that Simon brought to that?
Oh. Wow. That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I think if we're talking about the comedy, I think, you know, Simon's sort of straight and narrow, kind of bouncing off the absurdity of, you know, what's happening around him. I also think he brought, you know, if we talk about each character and kind of how they were, so I think there was so much for everybody in that show. I mean, there was one or two, or, you know, that you could relate to, and I think that was what made it also so universal. I don't know. I mean, I love coming here, and I love doing our panels because it's so refreshing for me as an actor to hear people tell me what they saw from, you know, what they've watched and sort of their perception, because sometimes as actors we're not consciously trying to, you know, put forth a certain, you know, way of being. So I don't know. What do you think?
I guess moving away a little from Firefly into Shakespeare, so Much Ado About Nothing. I mean, how was that kind of trying to approach Shakespeare in a modern era?
That was terrifying and exhilarating all at once. I was shooting a series in Chicago, and Joss emailed me out of the blue. I had no idea that he was thinking about doing it, and I got back to my hotel, and it was like 2 a.m. and I read it, and he said, you know, he told me what he was doing, and they said, I need a sexy villain. What saith you? And then I emailed him back, and I said, Joss, does this mean you think I'm sexy? And then he emails me back, stop fishing for compliments. Of course I think you're sexy. Like, are you in or you out? And I was actually so scared to do it that I was like, oh, I'm in Chicago, and I won't be available. And then I flew to LA, like, I think it was literally the next day, and I was at an event with my manager, and I was like, oh, you know, Joss reached out to me, and he's like, putting together this movie, he's going to shoot in this house, and my manager was like, email him right, and take out your phone and email him right now, you're going to do that. And I was like, well, what about, you know, he's like, I'll figure it out, just say yes. And I was like, all right. And, yeah, I was terrified. I showed up for rehearsals, and I was terrified, and I think when we first, like the first shot, I was finally, like, we had so much rehearsal, which was great, and we were doing it in Joss's house, which we all knew, and we had many a drunken night in Joss's house, and that's kind of what the play is about. But yeah, I think, you know, he sat us down, and he was like, I know exactly what I want. I'm gonna set up, you know, 2 or 3 cameras, so you're gonna have 1, maybe 2 chances at it. So don't, you know, basically. So we were all like, all right. So, you know, we went home and did so much homework, all of the actors, and showed up. And I think what was so exhilarating about it was it really, we thought, oh, this is the one shot at it. So it's kind of like you're stepping out on stage, and you don't know what's going to happen, and you know. And I think that's what he caught. So I think what we saw was sort of kind of live theater, you know, caught on film. But again, it was one of those, you know, moments where he gathered everybody, like actors, cast, crew, you know, craft service. Like, it was just everybody showed up to support this passion project of his. So it was really special. So.
Having done so much with Joss, were you kind of bummed that he didn't bring him in on the Avengers?
Well, didn't you know? There's a shot of me from behind. Because no, it's a funny story. I'm actually in it, my jawline.
Really?
No, I'm kidding. Avengers 2. No, he called me and said I need a favor, and I said, sure. Like what? And he's like, oh, you know, we're doing reshoots, and I need an actor to play off Scarlett. Like, we need a really good actor for her. And I was like, okay, you know, great. And I showed up, and I was like, I didn't know what I was doing. And you know, it was just a day of reshoots, and they put a wig on me to look like Mark Ruffalo because he wasn't available for the reshoots, and then we just shot everything over my shoulder. But apparently, you know, I've seen a movie still. I don't really notice it myself, but like, it's clearly my jaw from behind. And it was fun. You know, I got to hang out with Joss all day. I got to kiss Scarlett, which, you know, even as a gay man, is fun and delicious. So, but yeah, no, I don't know. I think I trust that if there's something for me, he's always looking out for a lot of us, you know.
Would you like to do like because he's working on Batwoman or Batgirl?
Batgirl, yeah.
And he's doing he's taken over from Scott, unfortunately, for Justice League. So they're doing reshoots and stuff. Zack.
Yeah. Yeah, I would do it. I mean, I've been approached for Batgirl to play Batgirl. Yeah.
What was your experience like on Teen Titans? Or
You know, voiceover is strange for me that way because my experience is very isolating because it's just me in the booth. What I love is we screen them at WonderCon, which is down in Anaheim. So like the first time, well, not the first time, I lie, but because I like to see the movie before I talk about it. But you know, the first time, a lot of people are seeing it. It's like, you know, it's like 3,000 people in one room, like seeing these movies, and it's pretty extraordinary. And I didn't think I understood the fan base for the animation until my first movie that I did. But yeah, it's fun. I have a blast on those movies. I really do. Yeah.
what was it like being in Con Man?
Oh, so fun. Just so fun. I don't have anything else to say. I mean, it was great. It was, yeah, it was great. It didn't feel like a job. It wasn't work really. So it was again one of those instances where like a lot of familiar faces, a lot of familiar actors, a lot of familiar crew members, like, you know, and I'd just come off Much Ado, and there were literally some of the crew were just transplanted to that. So it was delightful. Yeah.
How did you get involved with Best Friends Forever?
Oh.
Was that before or after East Side?
Timing wise,
I was just wondering if
I don't know which one.
The one you got involved the other. Best Friends Forever, the indie one, starring Craig Grant and
Yeah.
who were
Oh wait,
both-
Best Friends Forever.
Yeah.
That one. Oh yeah, that was a while ago. Because I also did a movie called BFFs.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
that's what I was
So I was confused for a second. Yeah, I did that one first. So Bria and Vera I knew, so they just they wrote this part for me and asked me if I would do it, and I said sure.
And just your thoughts on Eastsiders and like LGBT sort of programming.
Oh.
Especially that time.
Yeah, I mean, I was again. That was my friend Kit, was another dear friend of mine, and he wrote that role for me as well. And I was, of course, happy to support him and support any LGBT media. Yeah.
So just take it back to Firefly. Is there anything that you learned from Simon as a character that you've been able to apply in your future career?
Oh. That's a good question.
Can you do surgery as well?
Can I
can
actually suture? I tried to suture my son. It didn't go so well. Yeah, I know. I mean, I think at the risk of sounding like a cliche, I think I always carry a little bit of somebody or something forward after portraying them. I don't know specifically if I can kind of put my finger on what that would be, Simon, but I do think there's sort of an essence. I don't think it's possible for me to sort of embody somebody and then walk away and be like, oh, done with that.
And obviously at the end, a lot of them died. You managed to survive.
Yeah.
So what do you think would be next for Simon if it did ever, what would you want him to do next? Or what do you think he's doing now even?
I actually want him to have babies with Kaylee.
Oh.
Yeah, I really thought with Auntie River, I thought that would be fun, and I think the ship needed River needed somebody to play with.
Have you read any of the comic continuations?
Not so much. I mean, I've seen them. I think there's a lot more that I'm not privy to. I'm not a comic book person. But I hear of them and I see them. And
the dialogue was had English and I think the dialect was Mandarin as well.
Mandarin, yeah.
Have you remembered any of that? Are you still cursing in Mandarin?
You know, I never got a lot.
No?
No. It was funny. We were just asked this question last week in Hanover. Yeah, poor Alan got a lot. He got a lot of Chinese. I got Mei Mei, which is like little sister. Pretty easy. And then I think I got Sean Maher, which is basically like, huh? What's that? What did you say? It kind of sounds like my name, Sean Maher. So super easy. But poor Alan. It was kind of fun to watch him mess up and bang everything. He got so frustrated because we used to get those little, back when they used to have. I don't know if you remember, there were these things called cassette tapes. And we used to get one like in our trailer, like I got, would click it in and it would say, Mei Mei. Mei Mei. Like I'd say it 3 different times and we were meant to, then poor Alan would sit in his trailer and back then I think he was still smoking a lot. He would just be all stressed out and listening to the Mandarin, But I didn't get very much.
Sean, I was wondering as a gay man, have you found the industry's changed where openly gay men such as yourself get more prominent roles? I only ask because Luke Evans was saying that it's still a problem and he's never made a big deal out of his sexuality because he feels it would prevent him from getting roles in like Dracula Untold and the Fast and Furious films. I was just wondering whether you think the industry as a whole is more open-minded about possibly casting a gay actor as James Bond or something, or whether they're still really conservative about that. Not like having the character gay, but just casting a gay.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I want to believe. I want to believe so wholeheartedly that things have changed and we could have a gay actor playing James Bond, not a gay James Bond.
No,
that would be weird. So weird.
I mean, people had no problems with Neil Patrick Harris playing Lothario for 8 seasons. If you say cast, when Rupert Everett wants to be James Bond, people flip their lids.
Right. So it is. Yeah. I mean, I do think it's a. Yeah. I mean, I like I said, I want to believe that things have changed. I think for me, personally, I came out publicly because I was doing a show and the character was, gay, 1960s Chicago, and I thought it would be a great platform and it was always something I wanted to do. And for me, it was a choice I made as a father. Like I sort of wanted to be the best role model I could, and then I couldn't fathom how I would ever tell my daughter that there was something about me or our family that I hid for the sake of, our career or my career. And it was interesting because when I came out, I was being asked all these questions about the same exact thing, like were you are going to lose out on roles, and that we were going to production for Much Ado, which was very, very secretive, so I couldn't tell anybody that, oh, well, Joss doesn't think so, because here I am doing this, this, well, I mean, he doesn't think of me any other way than sort of an actor portraying certain characters. But I don't know, and I think just, again, I can only speak from my experience, when that question comes up, and would I be willing to, perhaps, forgo like the Jerry Bruckheimers or the Michael Bay, like will I ever be, considered? And I just think if it's, somebody who's not going to hire me because I'm gay, it's not somebody that I want to work with. And I don't think that really happened to me until I got old. And, it's like, and I think I used to say it, but I never believed it, but now I truly believe it. I'm like, if I'm not going to be considered for something because I'm gay, I wouldn't want to do it. So am I missing out on some stuff? I don't know. Do I care? Probably not, but that's just my personal, and I'm not trying to be, elusive and or anything like that. I'm just, that's just my personal.
But do you want to make a Michael Bay movie anyway?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, just, nothing against him. I think it just comes to mind that whole testosterone sort of driven. I mean, it's interesting. When I came out, I thought, oh, fans. I actually thought everyone kind of knew anyway. and I thought friends and family would obviously support me, and fans would support me. I had no idea, though, that so many studio executives and casting directors and producers, they all reached out to my manager and said, you know, will you let Sean know? Like, we've always been a huge fan of his. This only makes us fight harder. We're so proud of him. Like, you know, that kind of shocked me. But yeah, I did think, and really, I'm being judgmental of, you know, the Bays and the, you know, the Bruckheimers, like sort of these, like, you know, guy, like out there making a movie. So I don't know. Probably not, you know. But
Just one question. Serenity is all about family.
Yeah.
In the Firefly family, is Adam Baldwin considered the crazy?
He's not considered the crazy. He is the crazy.
He is
one.
he's a special one.
Yeah, he sure is.
Sorry, guys, that's all we have time for. Sorry.
That was fun.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.